It's a new year, a new season, and we are underway.
Really dominating fashion here today is going to win.
2-3-4 for the final time.
Win number 1 on the season, only just barely.
He is going to win here at the Nazareth Speedway.
Wins the Emerson Electric 100K.
Gonna be Igor Barretto's gonna eke it out.
Cup Series champion is Shane Lake in the number 15.
Welcome to the NOFSRL.
We head up north to the first state of the United States of America and my home racetrack for the 12th race of the season here in the Turkey Hill National Series. Welcome to the Dover International Speedway. We are here in Dover, Delaware for the Wawa 200 in season number 6 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill National Series. Hello everybody, this is Napa Fan here, and this is race 12 in season 6 of the NOFSRL Turkey Hill National Series. We are here at the Monster Mile in Dover, Delaware, the first state of the United States of America, and it should be a first-rate race for these guys here today. Hopefully it will be. We had a great race last weekend at Darlington, and this race is going to actually play out very similarly. The tire wear here at Dover, the compound that we use, wears out a lot, and pit strategy could become a factor in this race. About a 25-lap fuel run for today's event. And last year, this guy called the race with me, and he's going to call it again, even though he's in the series. I just explained to him my schedule for the next week and a half, and if I explain that to you, you'd understand why. I'm doing it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday because this is the only time we really have to do this. But Josh Williamson alongside me in well, he's in the number 75 to drive in this series, but he's also in the booth. But, we got to make an exception at some point. But, Josh, you actually called this race last year. I don't know if you remember it, but last year, the guy who won the eventual champion, Trey Smith, I should say, essentially led every single lap and went on to win this race. Ben Grorich starts on the pole here today in the number 36. Do you think he has a good shot at possibly doing that here today at Dover?
I wouldn't put it past him if history repeats itself, but yeah, Grorich, he might have lost his marbles a little bit after Armory Digital a couple weeks ago, but I don't know. He's probably got his mind back under him. He's starting from a good position there on the pole, but I wouldn't put it past Luke Rainey or really anybody else starting on that inside all the way back to about 7th place. And we'll have to see how pit cycles shake out too, because that could play a key factor into who wins this race, particularly maybe if we have a big caution come out or something that shakes everything up.
Yeah,
that's something to look out for as well.
We could see a few wrecks in today's race. Really don't know. But lots of times when they do wreck here, it's pretty big. That's why they call it the Monster here at the Dover International Speedway. Mm-hmm. So they line up in the point standings, and after that race at Darlington, it closed back in again. John Andrews is still the points leader, 297 points towards the championship for him. But Noah Clifton only 1 point behind. Joshua Harrison 7 points behind. Mitchell Collins 14 points behind. And Audra Baranowski's 22 points behind. As far as I know, however, none of those guys really start up front in this race here today, so it's going to be interesting to see if these points close in even more after today's event. Only 40 laps of action here around this 1-mile racetrack in Dover, Delaware, so it's going to go by very quickly. And like we mentioned, Ben Grorich in the number 36 starting on the pole position alongside him, Braden Perez in the number 24. Luke Rainey to the inside of Scott Upton in row number 2, Daniel Bouchard and Ben Crouch in row number 3. Roberto Crown Jr. and BB Ruiz make up row 4, then Dan Park and Colin Teague in row number 5. None of these drivers starting inside the top 10 have won a race yet this season. And unlike in the Cup Series, we have had a multiple-time winner this season in Ashland Boyd, but he is the only guy who has won multiple races so far this season in the Turkey Hill National Series. Everyone's rolling off. Josh, who do you think is going to go to victory lane here in the Wawa 200 at Dover?
As much as I'd like to go with Ben Crouch there, starting on the outside there in the 44, just the fact that he's starting on the outside is, I don't think he's going to win from starting in 6th place up there. I think I'm going to go with the 21 of Luke Rainey there, starting in the 3rd position. If Grorich slips up, look for that 21 to get to the inside and potentially steal this one away.
We'll have to see what Luke Rainey can do there, starting in the 3rd position for EL Racing. We haven't seen a lot of these guys who are starting up front too much this season. A great opportunity for them to score a victory here in Delaware. Green flag in the air. We're underway in the Wawa 200. Lap 1 will be led by Ben Grurich at the line. Bonus point towards the championship for him. And like you mentioned, Josh, that outside lane isn't particularly the best place to be here at Dover. A lot like how it is at Darlington. Maybe not as significant at Darlington. They can get that outside lane to work, but still on this initial start of the race, these guys slipping up like Ben Crouch, Scott Upton, Braden Perez. They all started in that outside lane, and they're now falling outside the top 5. But top 3 have kind of spread out right here. That's something we tend to see a lot of here at Dover. Ben Grurich, Luke Rainey, and Daniel Bouchard, the top 3. Roberto Crown Jr. and Dan Park looking to file out the top 5.
And here comes that 65 of Ashlyn Boyd there on the inside, 2-time winner this season, looking for a potential 3rd victory here today at Dover. Got his work cut out for him there, starting deep in the field as we see 3 wide deep on the inside. John Andrews, he's going to make that work, and behind him, Audrey Baranowski's in the 12 on the inside of those 2 cars. Ben Crouch is in the middle of that in the 44. It's the 37. Isaac Nichols gets to the inside, and on the outside, here comes one of the Body Armor Team Velocitar cars. That's the 54, Trey Bartow.
Yeah, Marty Johnson coming in there, but Bartow got shuffled out of line. He was 3 wide for about an entire lap right there. And now Ben Crouch going to get shuffled out of line. It's a very difficult place. There are 180-degree turns around this place, and it's only a mile-long racetrack. So if you don't hit your marks correctly, you got to step out of the gas, and you lose a lot of momentum here. That's just the way this track works. Trey Bartow trying to regain a lot of that momentum that he lost right there. And how about our points leader, John Andrews, filing inside the top 10 right there. Good run for him. Blake Parker, Micah Knapp inside the top 10 as well. As for the race lead, Luke Rainey has closed in here on Ben Grurich. We'll have to see if Rainey has a shot on this 36 machine as the tire wear does increase here at Dover. There might be more of an opportunity for these guys to slip up the racetrack, and that might open the door for some passes to be made up front. But last year in this race, we did not see a pass for the lead on the racetrack. We may, however, see that here today. Luke Rainey does seem to be rather fast in that 21 machine.
You know, Grurich took a little higher line there through 3 and 4 that last time through. Rainey was up on the higher line through 1 and 2. It looks like the 36 may be handling better in 3 and 4 than, well, I spoke too soon. Well, no, I didn't. As Grurich gets the better run off of turn number 4, Rainey slips back into the second position once again. Now he's got to completely regroup and try again at Ben Grurich in the 36, or don't look now. Here comes Daniel Bouchard in the 7. He's trying to close in that gap to second place.
Yeah, Bouchard actually started off the season very strong, and he actually comes into this race 10th in points, so he's had a pretty good season so far. And a nice top 5 run here today would help him move up in the points even more. Roberto Crown Jr. also top 10 in points coming into this race. He's currently running in the 4th position there for Ryan Racing. And you got Dan Park there rounding out the top 5. Ashlyn Boyd, the interesting thing about Ashlyn Boyd, the only 2 top 10s he has gained all season here in the Turkey Hill National Series have been his 2 wins at Daytona and Richmond. But right now he's running inside the top 10 in the 6th position and holding on to that position fairly well. Baranowski's now inside the top 10. Upton and Braden Perez have fallen back a little bit there. A very calm race so far. Nearly everyone single file. Ben Crouch started 6th. He's fallen all the way back to 28th. That's what happens when you get stuck in that outside lane earlier on here at the Dover International Speedway. Andrew Williams back in there as well. We haven't seen much of him this season. Our last winner, Julio Caesar, all the way at the back of the field. It's a victory lane last week at Darlington. This weekend, he's probably not going to win the race. Luke Rainey, though, is right behind the 36. As for 3rd, Roberto Crown Jr. gets around Daniel Bouchard, but a massive opportunity here for Luke Rainey to possibly upset the air on the 36 and get around him for the race lead.
They're both staying glued on the inside line. Fairly good. Grurich is going to have the lead coming out of turn number 4. Rainey's going to take a look down to the inside. Will he get all the way down there going off into turn 1? He will not. Grurich chops him at the last second. Rainey's still going to hold on to that second position, though, as Boyd gets to the inside of Grurich and onto the outside wall there. One car scraping in that 3 wide.
Blake Parker, who really got wide off the corner as Baranowskis and Micah Knapp came in. Rainey still yet to get around the 36 machine, but Ashlyn Boyd now up to the 5th position. And John Andrews up to 6th. Andrews moving his way through the field very nicely in this race so far, and he might also get around Ashlyn Boyd right here. But Rainey all over the back bumper of Ben Grurich. The opportunity has not presented itself quite yet. But we're going to have to see if this 21 can get a run. Roberto Crown Jr. a little bit wide. That might open the door for Dan Park to take 3rd here eventually. And Rainey was going to look right there, but did not have enough momentum. And this is bringing these guys back in here. We could have a 4-car battle for the race lead here very soon.
Yeah, and if we get those other two up there, this could be a hectic battle for the race lead, or at the very least, second place. We see the 72 of Roberto Crown Jr. closing in on the backside of Luke Rainey. He's bringing the 32 of Dan Park with him. They're gapping back to 5th place Ashlyn Boyd, who is in a frantic battle with the 11 of John Andrews, points leader coming into this race. He's trying to have another fantastic run here in the Turkey Hill National Series. As we check back in up front, still the 72 closing in on Rainey, but Rainey all over the backside of Ben Grorich coming out of turn number 4.
Yeah, the tire wear is making it a little bit hard for these guys to get runs at this point, but Luke Rainey is not backing down at all. I think it's just that difficult to make a pass here at this racetrack on worn tires, and Ben Growich actually holding these guys up a little bit. Roberto Crown Jr., Dan Park have closed in. Andrews has gotten around Ashlyn Boyd, so John Andrews now inside the top 5. Really good run for John Anderson in this race, but you can see how fast Roberto Crown Jr. closed in, and the 72 may actually get around Luke Rainey right here. We'll see if he peeks down to the inside. He's not going to be able to do it quite yet. The top 3 all on each other, and if they stay this way, once the cycle of pit stops begin here, about lap 25, that's going to make things really interesting on who's going to win the race later on down the road. Not quite halfway through this race, but a very short race here at Dover, and we've gone caution-free so far here in this Wawa 200. Luke Rainey all over the back bumper, but he's yet to peek to the inside and make a move. Grorich has been hugging that inside lane, and that is bringing all these guys in for this lead battle.
And the more cars you bring in, the more opportunities you might see for overtakes as we close in closer and closer to potentially pit cycles here in the next handful of laps. As Crown Jr. is going to slip up the track, but Dan Park, not going to be able to get to the inside. Andrews closing in on Park, headed off into turn number 1. Will he get there down low? Yes, he will. Points leader to the inside of the 32. That's for 4th place on the track.
I really think John Andrews has the fastest car on the track right now. He has been making a lot of these passes one after another here while nobody else has been able to make a move. Baranowskis on Bouchard back in there. That is for 7th. You got Blake Parker holding up Mike and Knapp and these guys. Barto's rebounded just outside the top 10 right there. Ashlyn Boyd to the inside of Dan Park. Not able to get that run right there. And Ben Growich has actually pulled away now from Luke Rainey. And you can tell, these guys, they actually go a lot slower here in the game. The way I have this track modded up, it's a lot slower than how they run in real life. But the thing is, when you have a lot of grip on an NR track, they tend to not pass too much. Now, obviously, that's kind of counterintuitive to what you're seeing. But John Andrews, though, on the other hand, he's going to get another one right here. That's for 3rd. This number 11 is one of the fastest cars on the track right now. No doubt about it. A very good long-run car for John Andrews, and he may set himself up to possibly win this race. Crown Jr.'s fallen off the top 2. We're halfway through the Wawa 200 already here at Dover. Luke Rainey may get a run here on Grorich as Grorich finally overshot the corner right there. This 21's going to have a full head of steam, but if these guys aren't careful, that 11's going to close in here before the cycle of pit stops begin.
And Grorich slipped high again going through turn 1 and 2. Rainey did not get going off of turn 2 very good, though. So that 36 is just smooth sailing right now and may even lead the field 2 pit cycles. Meanwhile, for 3rd place, Andrews is on the inside of that 72 of Roberto Crown Jr. Crown Jr. still slipping back on that outside of Dan Park and Ashlyn Boyd. And we're going to get the 12 of Audrey Baranowski's up here also. Pulls up behind the 72 of Roberto Crown Jr. as Crown still trying to get that outside to work on Ashlyn Boyd. Looked like he was going to out of turn 2, but through 3 and 4 here, surely that 65 is going to get by, and indeed he will.
Yeah. John Andrews actually got held up there trying to get around Roberto Crown Jr. He lost a little bit of ground to the top 2, so this race could easily be between Luke Rainey and Ben Grorich. He's going to have to see, and they go very slow when the tires wear out to the point they are right now. And next time by, I would imagine these guys are going to start the pit cycle here in this race. Luke Rainey is right there on the 36 machine. He actually may get a run right here because they're not coming down the pit lane quite yet, and Rainey had a huge run on that outside lane. He's finally going to peek to the inside, and just before the cycle begins, we got a battle for the race lead. Luke Rainey on Ben Grorich. Rainey's going to try to get it here. That's going to bring in John Andrews to this race lead before the cycle begins here. But new race leader, it's Luke Rainey right when I'm imagining they're going to come down the pit lane right here. Not quite yet. They're going to stay out another lap. See if anybody else in the back of the field comes down right here. Doesn't look like they are quite yet. This is one of those places where if you come down a lap early, you're going to get an advantage. And we saw that come into play last weekend at Darlington. That same mantra is true here at Dover. Growich, however, may get a run back on Luke Rainey for the race lead.
Yeah, that 36 has been strong this whole race. Obviously led all of the laps before Rainey got into that race lead. Obviously had a fast car. He put it on the pole, but everyone now single file virtually throughout almost the entire field on that inside line, and obviously just waiting to see if anybody comes down on the pit road. Doesn't look like anybody did this time, but Rainey keeping that car glued on the inside like a cat on Velcro, trying to hold off the 36 of Ben Grorich.
Yeah, all three of these guys on each other. John Anders right here as well. I'm wondering if this fuel window might be a little bit more than what we expected, because, there we go, there's your first taker.
Here we go.
Daniel Bouchard. Now, this is going to be interesting because he's the only one coming down, and if you remember the Cup race last weekend, just before that caution came out, Brock Nelson was the only guy, he was leading the race, was the only guy that come down in the first cycle, and he had gapped the field a lot. Now, if the caution didn't come out, Brock Nelson probably would have won that race. We're going to have to see what kind of an advantage Daniel Bouchard can get on our race leaders. Baranowski's going to stay at an extra lap, so our third different leader of the race, Luke Rainey's teammate, but a majority of the field coming down here on lap 28, so a little bit longer on fuel than we had anticipated. But the cycle is right here, right now, and this is the money stop, the one stop these guys are going to have in this race. And if you mess this up, you're not going to win here at the Dover International Speedway. We're going to have to see what Bouchard can do. That number 7 could get a good advantage. It's probably about a 2-second gap difference between fresh tires and worn tires here at Dover. And that 7 could gain a bit of time on a race here. But we're going to have to see who gets the race off the pit lane here. It's going to be a 4-tire stop for all these guys, no doubt about it. Luke Rainey there in the number 21, already on the left side. We'll have to see what he can do compared to the rest of these guys. You see John Ears coming off the pit lane, Ashley Boyd as well, but Rainey going to get out ahead, and way out ahead of Ben Grorich, and Grorich with a slow stop. Tough break there for our pole sitter, who was the dominant car earlier on in this race. Now it's Luke Rainey and John Anders in position, but here comes Daniel Bouchard, who's already on the fresh Goodyears, who's trying to close in on the 21 of Luke Rainey, and he may be able to catch up to him. We're just going to have to find out and see.
Huge run going through turn 3 and 4, riding up high on the concrete. Rainey off the pit road, as we'll see all the rest come off of the pit road, and it looks like Rainey will indeed cycle into the lead. Bouchard potentially cycling into the second position as they pass the 77 of Priya McShane coming off of the pit road.
And she's going to go a lap down right there, and this is what happens at Dover. We actually mix in with the lap traffic. So now it's going to be interesting to see if Bouchard can close in on Rainey. You can see him barely in the camera frame right there. And it's only 0.7 of a second between our race leader, Luke Rainey, and second place, Daniel Bouchard. Third place is John Anders, 3.5 seconds off. Ashland Boyd, 4.5 seconds off. Trey Bartow up to 5th. A great pit stop for Bartow. And Micah Knapp going to file in 6th. You got Renan Esip inside the top 10. Dan Park inside the top 10. Audra Baranowskis there. Then Roberto Crown Jr. and I believe Christian Vargas. That's the top 11 here with now 9 laps to go at Dover. But Luke Rainey pulling away, your pick to win this race. And Luke Rainey, we're going to have to see what he can do in these final few laps, but he's got a second lead right now on Daniel Bouchard. Rainey came into this race he's 20th in points, so right in the center of the championship. But this win would definitely shoot him up a little bit closer, and with how tight the points are this season, going to give him a good opportunity at possibly winning this Turkey Hill National Series Championship this year. But Rainey continues to pull away a little bit here. He does have 1 lap fresher tires, but he really overcooked the corner right there. Trying to get some speed on that outside lane. Bouchard may close in a little bit here on this lap, and he did by about 1/10 of a second.
You know, that's one thing Rainey has to be careful with. Another thing, he's got to be careful about that lap car in front of him, which I believe is the 00 of Ethan Farley. Yes, it is. So that's one thing he needs to worry about. I remember the Cabela's Cup Series race in Season 2 at Dover, where Trey Wright was leading, and then a lap car of Jamison Thull got in the way and allowed Colton Yo to get by on the inside on the final lap for a race victory. I don't know if Bouchard has enough time to close in if Rainey got held up by Farley, because that is a huge gap. I think Rainey's smooth sailing right now. Obviously, with the Trey Wright and Colton Yost situation, that unfolded about over the course of 10 laps. We've only got 5 laps to go right now in the Wawa 200, so I don't think he's got enough time.
And he is pulling away here from Daniel Bouchard, and not only that, McShane may get around Bouchard here, because she has fresher tires at this point than the number 7 machine. We're going to have to see if McShane does get in the way there, Bouchard. But right now, it's looking very good for Luke Rainey here in this number 21 machine. It's been a while since Rainey's won a race on Napa Fan. Trying to think if he won an IndyCar last year or not. I don't think he did. 2017 Haas IndyCar Series champion and Indianapolis 250 winner. I don't know if he's ever won in a stock car on my channel, though. He probably has at some point, but this is going to be a big deal for this team. Ethan Lewis hasn't won a race in a long time. I don't know if he's ever won a race on my channel as an owner. It's 3 laps to go for Rainey here at Dover in the Wawa 200. And Bouchard's now just trying to fend off McShane behind him. Yeah, he's losing a lot of ground. This 21 is really fast, and let's see, where did Ben Grurich end up falling to? He was on the pit lane for a while there. He
Hope
really
he's not
fell
still
big.
down there.
There he is. Wow.
Okay.
All the way
Holy
back to the
smokes.
31st position for the guy who led over half of this race. And that's what I said right when that cycle began. This is the money stop, and if you mess it up, you're not going to win the race. Well, that's exactly what happened there. McShane's going to get around Bouchard, and now Rainey is stuck behind the lapped cars, but he is coming to the white flag, and Bouchard is a little ways behind. 1 lap to go on the Wawa 200 at Dover for Luke Rainey in the number 21. Looking pretty good right here for the Renault Ford.
Yeah, he's just smooth sailing right now, isn't he?
He's definitely going to get this one. No doubt about it. Only unless something freak happens. We've seen it happen before. But I don't think it's going to happen here today. Luke Rainey is going to win the Wawa 200 here at Dover in the Turkey Hill National Series. First career win in this series and first win of the season on Napa Fan. And this will definitely benefit him in the championship. It was a good strategy out of Daniel Bouchard, though. He ended up finishing second. He would not have finished that high if he came down the same time as everybody else. First non-win top 5 and top 10 for Ashland Boyd in the 65 as he finishes 4th. John Andrews finishes 3rd, and Trey Barta rounds out the top 5 here at Dover. That was a short little nugget of a race. No cautions here at the Dover International Speedway. I don't think that's what we're going to see tomorrow in the Mr. Goodbar 400. Those cars go a little bit faster, and they're a little bit more powerful than these guys are. But take a look at the rest of the results right there. Only 3 guys finished a lap down. Andrew Williams, Priya McShane, Joshua Harrison, and that was all through the cycle. So nobody had an issue in this race. Everybody finished. As you see the rest of the official standings right there. But what are you looking forward to in tomorrow's race? You know, those Cup cars, they go a lot faster. There's a lot more power on those things. And we saw a lot of wrecks in last year's Cup race here at Dover. And it's twice as long as well. Do you think this race gave us any indication on how tomorrow's race is going to go, or is tomorrow's race going to be a little bit more wild than this one?
Oh, polar opposite. There's no doubt about that. They have more horsepower. First of all, so yeah, you said they have more power. I guarantee you, they're going to be slipping up the banking a little more. We're going to see a lot more overtaking than what we saw in this race. But that was still an interesting race. It really came down to the pit stop, and yeah, I guess I was right to pick Luke Rainey. He ended up winning this race. That's the only time I've ever gotten a pick actually right, I think, not just in this, but anything. So it's a pretty cool.
First time for everything. Hey, you finished 22nd.
So. Oof. You know what? I'm used to it at this point.
We gotta figure something out. Either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah, that's it. That's it here from the Turkey Hill National Series from Dover. This is probably the most boring race we do all year in this series. Hey, I love this track, though. It's my home track, and I'll be coming here tomorrow in real life and Sunday in real life, and if it rains, on Monday in real life, too. So, great to be able to go back to a race in my at my home racetrack. Not in my home state, though. I live in Pennsylvania. Glad I do. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Luke Rainey for winning the Wawa 200 here at Dover. And we will see you guys sort of next week. It's going to be the next race for these guys going to be Monday night after next weekend. So not this coming Monday night, but Monday the 24th at, I believe, 8 p.m. Eastern Time at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway under the lights. Yes, you heard me correctly. we're going to have a night race at the Brickyard for these guys. The Steak and Shake 250, part of Indy 250 week coming next week, starting next week here on Napa Fam. Definitely looking forward to see how that all goes down. And then they'll be at Charlotte just a couple days later for the CN Rail 300. So a lot to look forward to here in the Turkey Hill National Series. A lot to look forward to in general here on AG Racing. A lot of great races coming up here in the NOFSRL. Thank you guys so much for watching. Congratulations to Luke Brady for winning here at Dover. And we will see you guys tomorrow for the Mr. Goodbar 400 here at noon Eastern Time in the NOFSRL Cup Series. I will see you guys later.